alright, alright without me. Dancing with their friends, oh, we know they all pretend. Maybe she's alright, alright without me. She left a photograph and a favorite book of poetry. She's alright, alright without me. She must have angels. She must have angels to walk beside her now. 'Cause I don't know how she goes so easily. Like presto, now I'm free. Maybe she's alright, alright without me. Tearing up my soul with a love I can't let go. Maybe she's alright, alright without me. She must have angels. She must have angels to walk beside her now. 'Cause I don't know how she goes so easily. Maybe she's alright. Maybe she's alright. They say she's with a man, I guess any man would do. Maybe she's alright, alright without me. Burning down my heart just to kindle one more spark. Maybe she's alright, alright without me. Oh, dancing with her friends, oh, we know they all pretend. Or maybe she's alright, alright, alright without me. Tearing up my soul with a love I can't let go. She's alright, without me. Hello, hello, hello. Can y'all hear me? You throw something in the chat there that you got me. I'm just checking things over. Looks like we're all here and live. Looks like it. All right. How's everybody doing? I'm Ezra Vansel, and this is the Studio Cabin Campout Day 7. And today, I want to talk about the wounds of love. The wounds of love. I dropped a few songs in your album folder today. First of all, before we get to all that, just for people that are watching in on YouTube or Facebook, this is an album release event for a double album called Mornings and Midnight. Morning and Midnight. The book is called Mornings and Midnight. That's confusing. The book is plural. The albums are not. And so I did an event, a 10-day event where I just hang out by campfire, which I'm going to be doing for about half the event. And we're dropping music videos and special content and hangouts and prizes and all kinds of fun stuff, all the fun stuff I can think of. And so that's what we're doing. It's not only a double album, but there's a book I wrote while I was making the album. And at these hangouts, I've just been reading from the book and just talking about my life and the making of this album, kind of stories behind it. And then on to some comments I wanted to answer because one of them was, where do I buy the album? And this is a very Ezra-esque thing. So I've been so busy trying to get this thing going that I failed to uh, pay attention to the most important thing, which is getting the albums up on the store. I have some problems with my store. I'm fixing them. So I apologize. It's for sure going to be, I think this, well, I say, you can't say for sure and I think at the same time, Ezra. So that's me talking to myself in the third person. Oh, it's this weekend. I'm hoping it all comes together and there will be uh, albums available. The campers will, it'll either be exclusive to y'all or you'll have just a major discount code that you can use if you want to grab some of this, the book or the albums or the art prints. Um, and so that's the problem. I'm just keeping this thing going. I got a job during the day. I run home. I get all this set up. I do this, and then at night I get ready for the next day. So it's been a heck of a time. It's a lot more than I was imagining. I thought I could kind of plan this out right, and it would all just be easy, and it hasn't been. But I'll tell you what, though, it's been fun. It's really neat to get to know y'all. It's been kind of neat to get used to talking, to get past the thing of that I'm talking to a camera, because I'm not talking to a camera. I'm talking to you, and it's because of y'all and your comments and y'all hanging out that has made it feel more like a camp out. And so thank you for just making it feel good in here. I also wanted to just off the, I didn't, if there was a question, maybe Hallie can shoot it over to me on text or something that I'm missing. There was another one. Randy sent me a video of a song you wrote, and I just wanted to say I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a solid song, and it's kind of on the topic I'm talking about. In the song, I remember you saying it's something like, I can't quote it, but it was that if I don't know it, then I'll learn it. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that, about my experience with love and marriage and divorce and all the things that go along with it. So let's just start. I'll read some poems tonight, maybe a story. Day show you should have 14 songs in there, and the two I dropped in there today were Lady of My Heart and Without Me, which were kind of tightly in the theme of the Midnight album. And if you've been watching along, there's a theme to the Midnight album and to the Morning album. The Midnight album was at least, if not written, conceived during the time of a divorce between me and my wife that we went through. And we went through the whole damn thing and then decided at the end that we couldn't do it. And so we're still together some 12 years later. And life has never been better. And that's the Morning album, is singing about life now and our life now. And it has a lot of family things. It has a lot of just legacy and some hard things on the Morning album. But I'd like to think what's different about the Morning album is something that I try to do with my music and really my life, is to take all things and find the hope in them and find the beauty inside of them. And so the Morning album is more me doing that. The Midnight album is a dude that is just broken in half pretty much by divorce. And so that's kind of what we'll talk about today. I'm going to read a few poems today. Thought I'd share a story that kind of captures these songs and what I want to talk about today. So a man, he died and he went to heaven, went to the gates of heaven, and God was standing there and he said, God said, show me your wounds. And he said, I don't have any wounds. And God said, was there nothing worth fighting for? And that's a little story I picked up from, I kind of collect stories. I have lots of books in there with stories in them. Not because I want to be a guy that tells stories, but because I like to know those because they tell me something. And I think, information is great, but we can't say all the things we need to say with words or data. And that's why we have music. That's why we have art. That's why we have poetry. And I thought I would read today first of all, I'm just going to check the chat. Okay. Okay. It does look like we're on. So that's good to know. I thought I would read some poems about love and talk about kind of the wounds of love, tell some stories from my life. The first thing I think of is a story, because there's romantic love and then there's love for your family and love for your neighbors and it goes on and it's expansive. And I think it kind of reverberates out from the middle. But one story of love that tells me a good story about what love is and the price of love is a story about my son. When he was probably, I don't know, he'd have to be around 3. It was talking times where he was talking and he could understand whatever age that was, 3 or 4. I think it was 3. And we found a puppy in our front yard. It was the cutest little puppy. And I told him it probably belonged to somebody. And so we spent some days looking for signs, and there's little places you could look where we lived to see if somebody lost something. And so finally I said, Noah, it looks like Noah's coming for this puppy. So it's yours, but beware. Somebody might come knocking on our door. And so he's like, okay. And he named this puppy. He fell in love with this puppy. This puppy was, I don't know, it was a long time we had this puppy. It might have even been over a month. And so the puppy was his puppy at this point. And one day, this father and his daughter showed up at our door. And they knocked, and I walked out there. And they said, we lost our puppy. And we're just checking around the neighborhood to see if anybody's found it. And I went, oh no. So I called Noah out. And I told him, because I wanted him to kind of say what he wanted to say before I said what I wanted to say. And I told him this little girl lost her puppy. And he said, we found a puppy. And he told him, but his name is blah, blah, blah. And I can't remember the name of the puppy. He might remember. He didn't quite get what was going on. And the father said, we understand it's been a long time. And so, we'd like to have our puppy back, but, we understand if there's some issues. Noah started crying. That's my son. And, I don't know what happened next, but I do remember getting down and asking him, told him it was his decision, that it was her little puppy and she lost it. And would he like to give it back? And he went off and he said goodbye to the puppy and he carried it out and gave it to that little girl. And he just cried and cried. So that story makes me think of love because, love, whether it goes good or it goes wrong, it has a price tag at the beginning. It's almost like when we picked up that puppy, because if they didn't come get that puppy, we would have a bad day sometime soon with that puppy, because we've had several of those where we had to dig a grave in the backyard with puppies and guinea pigs. And so it's almost like to love, I have to put my signature that I will carry the wounds of this love. And sometimes it's because it goes wrong, like divorce, breakups. But even then, if it doesn't go wrong, in the end, I guess you could say it all goes wrong for everybody. And there will be a last kiss. That's a strange thing to think about. There will be a last fight with my wife. And I don't know when it is. There'll be a last embrace with my children. And so love like inherently kind of carries this pain inside of it. And so when me and my wife got back together, it was real tentative, because at first we'd made a mess in that year of divorce, as people do, and we didn't know if we could make it work. We had decided we didn't want anybody else, but even then, we didn't know if we could get past all the pain of it and all the betrayal of it and all the words that had been said. How are we going to do that? What were we going to do with all the pain of the price of this love? And so that takes me to, let's see what does that take me to. I read this one the first day, but there's a line in here that I thought of. And what for love will be too much a price? The cost of 1,000 worlds gone wrong. So I'll read that one. It's called "In All Human Hearts Be Not Enough Room." There has been much of love spoken by fools, much of love written by poets and saints. Much love has been lost obeying rules. Love and other harms the painters will paint. And what for love will you not sacrifice? Fear is one spell, resistant and strong. And what for love will be too much a price? The cost of 1,000 worlds gone wrong? Love has been chanced on a midsummer tryst, thrown to one side a crushed white cigarette. It's out, it's cut from a heart or cut in a wrist. Still no ink of love has been counterfeit. Love, it is written, eternal in bloom. In all human hearts be not enough room. That's one I thought about. Now let's look at one of the sweeter ones on love, because I got to put a little honey in these deep, dark, painful stories. This one's called "Moments in Love," and I I guess I'll tell you a little bit. So that "Lady of My Heart" song that you heard the video, that was actually written. So there was a year of divorce. We went our separate ways. Everything was separated. Money, the children stuff was settled, and we were basically just waiting for papers to sign, and we just didn't want to get together. We just didn't want to do it. I don't think, not because I don't think we didn't want to sign at certain times, but we didn't want to. She kind of just was gone. And at some point, I just didn't want to sign it. You know how it goes. If you've been around a divorce, you know how it goes. But when we tried to get back together, it's beautiful at first because there's nothing better than having an affair with your wife. It was secret because we had turned everybody around us, had been turned to one person or the other on their side, and so we had to hide the car and sneak over and had a love affair. But then we realized when we tried to really re-engage our marriage that we might have broken too much because we couldn't hardly talk to each other without explosions of pain and fear is what it was. And so we decided, in our deepest truth that we could pull together at that time, that it doesn't matter if this is what it's going to be. If we're going to be at each other's throats, we don't want to be with anybody else, and so we're going to make it work. And I'm so glad that we just kept walking. We kept a separation between us, though. We allowed each other to disappear if things got tough, if our hearts got all twisted, and to know that it was okay. Like if somebody needed to go stay somewhere for a couple of days. And I'll read a poem about that in a minute, but let's pour some honey in here. So this one's called "Moments in Love." I wrote this on a beach in Florida. The covers gently sliding from the bed. Let me start that over. The covers gently sliding from the bed. I'll make you mine while the fan mildly cranks. White sheets tied and tangled over our head, simmering in summer delights we drink, from pure fountains of passionate reprise, with years to explore the brushing of skin, the air from a window sweat drips and dries. Play the refrain, in chorus we deepen. You would make me yours if spirit would loose the soul stuff from earthly tendons and bone. It's my heart within that ravishes you. I would make you my house, heavenly home. Ours is the sweetness descending above. Ours is the moments in love. And and this was written probably right when I was making the album in 24. And it makes me think of that little story I said where the guy goes, I'm going to repeat it just to remember it. He dies, he goes before God, and he says, "Show me your wounds." And the guy says, "I don't have any wounds." And he says, "Was there nothing worth fighting for?" And this is kind of enjoying, this is a time in our life. There's an album I made called "We Were Wild" that it's just really all about that. It's kind of looking back at it all and enjoying the fruits of that long, hard journey that you made. I remember when I was a teenager, I did a survival trip, and I think it was like 2 weeks long. I might be wrong because time kind of changes in your brain, but it was like for real. We were like getting, stuff along the way and eating, stuff that we found. It was foraging in the forest, and I just remember our whole thing is we were going to climb this mountain, and it took us like a week to get up it. And just that feeling on top of the mountain, going up it, was hell. It was. I don't think I had any fun after like the first day, but it was all worth it. Standing on top of that mountain, and there was a book up there, and my name's signed in it. And I have no idea where this was. I just don't remember. And that's kind of like when you pay the price for love. Let's see what we got here. This one is leave a space. And this is what I was just kind of talking about. Are we still on? I should check every once in a while. Make sure everybody's okay. Okay, there we are. This is something we learned. I don't know if I can really explain it real well about. My friends called it, what do you call it? Something school, like non-schooling or something for your kids. Something we did with our daughter. It's just slipping my mind right now. But they called it kind of non-marriaging because not that we didn't honor our vows and trust each other and love each other, but what me and my wife found is that we were too tangled up, and we needed to allow a space between us, a space for love to grow, a space for each person to be who they are and to be okay with that. And part of love, marital love for me is not only learning. I read something the other day called "Everybody's an Asshole," but it's learning to love that asshole in everybody, to learn that as well, to love that as well, because love is there's another saying, if I can pull it to my mind, that the anguish of loneliness is not that there is no one to help you bear your burden. It's that you have only your burden to bear. So it's not that we want to be loved. And I think when I was young, I wanted love. I think what I wanted was to be loved, but I didn't realize it's like love is like a magnetism. There's a pull, and then there's the release. There's two sides of it, where when I want love, what I'm really saying is I want to love. And so to want to love is to be able to love that person fully, and that is the whole, I think the richness of attempting a lifelong love is that you're going beyond, the bubblegum songs and you're going into a realm that it can be rich. There was actually a study a long time ago. I watched this on TV back when there was really TV, like 4 channels. But I remember this study, and they did a study, these scientists, of whether people were happy or not, happier without children, that had grown up without children and grown old, or people that were happier with children in a family. And they studied them over years, and they found that the people without children were happier. Now, these are, this is one study. These are the experts, so who knows? But they did find that the people with children had what they called a richer happiness. And in the end, what I got from it was there's things you can desire. You can desire a happiness, and that's fine, or you can desire richness. And I think from the beginning, even from childhood, I desired a very rich life. And so that entails that I'm going to sign my name on the dotted line of I will accept the payment and the wounds of love. This one's called Leave a Space. In love, we must leave a space between us. The young fire dreams that boundaries are erased and sometimes smudged, hidden in bed. 2 souls in clusters of intimate lust. After hard times, hearts beating only trust. or a foreign cafe, dream face to face. Mornings where the sun your body's traced. A space between where it is up to us. Two tangled hearts will cause two hearts to trip. Disguise the freedom minds often long for. If sewn so tightly, the fabric will rip. Beach and ocean, one, they meet on the shore. The space in our cup holds wine that we sip. Lovers speak by a space between each lip. And I'll read the little sidebar on this one here. And so, if you're new, if you're just jumping into these hangouts, this is the book I wrote with the album. I wrote it out there in the forest with a little fire. And when I would just go out there to kind of get alone before the sun came up. And for each of these poems, I pulled stuff from my journals and writings and kind of found things I thought might fit with the poem or fashioned it to fit. Tangled Little Hearts, the title of a poem I wrote when I married my wife. And to be sure, we are tangled. A mess of intimate yarn that no knitting needle could ever tease apart. Let me read that again. A mess of intimate yarn that no knitting needle could ever tease apart. It was only after a painful divorce and then a painfully beautiful reunion that we both learned something that feels like a secret. That secret is that though we are one in some sense, bonded and promised, we are nevertheless two distinct souls, and we must respect that space between us. She is her own soul, with her own wants, and even her own roads through life. Internally, we belong to ourselves and to God alone. There are no hard and fast rules to this secret. It is an understanding, one that allows us to see ourselves as two distinct persons who choose what is given and what is withheld. It is a respect for that line. Her past, her pains, and her internal world belongs to her, and mine to me. To share is to love, but expected love is not love at all. It is need, it is greed. To have no expectations of each other is our desire. Love can only be given, not taken, and in that we can truly love. Let me put my bookmarks in the fire. How are we doing? Is everybody doing all right? Okay. I check the chat every once in a while. And if you're on YouTube and Facebook, I'm watching all this in the portal. So if you want to get involved, there's a link somewhere in there. You can jump in and watch a replay of stuff or maybe catch one of the last hangouts. We're on day 7, so we only have 3 left. Oh, here's a random bill, honey. If you're looking for it, I'll put it in the back of my book. If I took some bill. Oh, and I just lost my page. All right, so I wanted to read one of the, let's see here. So in the back of this book is the lyrics to the songs, and then with them, there's a little, some more writings. I call them sidebars. Okay, this one's for a song called Missing You on the album. And I actually had another one in mind, but I've lost it. So I'm not going to try to look for it while y'all sit here and watch me. I'm going to read this song and the lyrics first, because this one too is all from midnight and kind of tells the tale of that time, which was a very odd time. It was the biggest change. I would call it a catharsis of my life, like a change like I never believed anybody could have in their life. I was a bitter drunk, dead set on killing myself. And that's now 12 years ago. And something happened and it all changed. And I started walking up that mountain and starting to change my life. And that's when my wife left me. She filed for divorce. And I didn't blame her, though. I got to tell you, it's hard to maybe understand. But I didn't blame her at all. She'd been through hell. I kind of felt like, good for you. It's been tough with me. I understand. Okay, so this song was written during that time for her. All I wanted, searched the world, found my soul in a Spanish girl on a midnight, but I was missing you. Dreams and doors are open wide. I swear I saw God in a beggar's eyes. It was pure light, but I was missing you. I walked alone the Pyrenees, forgave the broken child in me. He was so damn tired, but I was missing you. Kissed the devil, nearly died, but I'm so glad that he gave me a ride to this desert town where I was missing you. Colorado, oh, I sang her a tune, held my breath as she watched the moon going down, but I was missing you. I saw Vincent's starry night, touched his portrait, and I nearly cried. It was so true, but I was missing you. I'm going to read this story with this. Whatever you do, don't try this at home. I'm a professional. I have no idea what this says. I haven't read this since I put this book together, so let's hope it's family friendly. When my wife and I get back together after a year of divorce proceedings, we were like that video game Super Meat Boy. If you've never seen it, imagine a little guy with no skin, just raw, exposed flesh. That was us, Meat Boy and Meat Girl. It hurt like hell because we hadn't just gone through a divorce. We had wrecked our lives and our hearts. But in the end, we both knew we didn't want anyone else. No matter how painful the road ahead, we were in it together. I remember one night my wife started reminiscing about an ex from before me, a guy who had drunk himself to death. The way she talked about him, it was like she was purposely placing him a rung below me. I also had nearly drunk myself to death, as we all do when talking about past lovers. We make sure they don't shine too bright, especially the ones we left behind. The bad times are forefront, and any of the good times are left out. She was halfway through a story I'd heard a dozen times, one that didn't exactly paint him in a great light. When I stopped her and I said, I don't want to do this anymore. Tell me what you loved about him. If you were with a man so many years, surely it wasn't all bad. Risky move, but I was tired of both of us hiding whole parts of our past, cropping out the good parts just to make ourselves more comfortable. Because to erase the beauty of an old love is to erase a piece of who we are. So we started talking about our exes differently, fairly, honestly, remembering the beautiful things together, the hard things too. Now her old boyfriend almost feels like some distant relative who died tragically. And she feels the same way about my harem of women. Just kidding. I don't I don't have long with this woman I love. I don't want her to leave anything out. I want to know her. Oh, I found the one I was looking for. Is the next page. So that one, you know, I don't like sharing too much, but we're not, nobody from the government is watching this, I'm sure, but not that that matters. I don't know where that joke came from, but you know, we had wrecked our lives and our hearts during that year of divorce, and to the point that we couldn't see how it could be healed, and that's kind of the thing of walking forward with just the faith and acceptance of the wounds, that it's gonna hurt. That's kind of what I was talking about at the beginning. Is that when you're brave enough to love even a puppy, but surely a man or a woman, child, there's going to be wounds. It's just part of the deal. We're all human, and we can't change that. So this one was without me, and I'll go on because these both kind of tell stories about the same thing. And Without Me is one of the songs I dropped in your folder, and you can click on that. You can download that app and stream those songs, or you can just download them. And I'll go ahead and read the lyrics first, and then I'll read this little story to the side. This one's kind of dark. Actually, my wife, when I wrote this, I showed it to her when we got back together, and she's like, "I don't like that one." And she rarely ever says that. And now she's like, "Oh, I love that one." So, sometimes we don't want to hear things. So this one's sewing up my heart with this needle in the dark. Maybe she's all right. all right without me. I called her up last night. Oh, she wouldn't even fight. Maybe she's all right without me. Dancing with her friends. Oh, we know they all pretend, but maybe she's all right without me. She left a photograph in her favorite book of poetry. Maybe she's all right without me. She must have angels, angels to walk beside her now, 'cause I don't know how she goes so easily. Like presto, now I'm free. Maybe she's all right without me. Tearing up my soul with a love I can't let go, but maybe she's all right without me. She must have angels, angels to walk beside her now, 'cause I don't know how she goes so easily. They say she's with a man, I guess any man would do. Maybe she's all right without me. Burning down my heart just to kindle one more spark. Maybe she's all right without me. Dancing with her friends, oh, we know they all pretend. She's all right without me. And I'll read this story that goes with it. Once again, I don't know what's in here. I'm being pretty vulnerable here. Okay. Oh, there it goes. So maybe we're still in. So, uh, one guy told me I should get a whiteboard when I talk about my marriage, just to explain it all. During my first divorce, my wife did the divorcing, but really, I was the one who walked away. At the time, it all made sense. I could justify everything. Friends and family backed me. And of course, I thought she was just a mess. Divorce is painful, messy. And when I see someone else going through it, I can see right through their smile, the bloodbath underneath. Because usually they're smiling, justifying, embracing their new era, demonizing the other person as much as possible. I remarried quickly after that to the woman I am with now. About a decade in, she divorced me too, but this time it was different. She's the one that left, ghosted me, and from what I could tell, she moved on. Turns out she walked away from our marriage almost exactly how I'd walked away from my first. It's a very different thing to be the one who leaves and then to be the one left. They come with entirely different kinds of pain. And as I ached through that time, something hit me, something deep. I suddenly understood everything my first wife had felt because now I was in her place. I was the one left. Someone I loved just walked away, seemingly without regret, and it hurt, like having an arm removed with a rusty knife. I understand everything, every action my first wife had taken, every word, every messy expression of pain. It's a strange gift to be wounded by the same knife you once held. It strips away the justifications, the excuses. It removes the holy shield you've been hiding behind. And in that space, real understanding can finally show up. It pulled me out of my made up Ezra show I'd been filming and dropped me into reality. And only in reality can true forgiveness be found. One small proof: when I ran a crowd fund to make the first album in my History of Love trilogy, that was called You. My ex-wife was one of the biggest contributors. She helped make it happen. Reality's not always pretty, but these little old human hearts, they can heal in ways I've never imagined possible. Whew. Y'all, that feels vulnerable. That's like too much information. You know, just between me and the campfire here that's about to go out. Oh my gosh. Well, it's pretty hot. It's looking good. You know, I was so, and I apologize to everybody from the first 40 years of my life, but I just was not real. Now, I'm sure real parts of me came out, but I know that there was so much of myself hidden out of fear, out of what people would think of me. Uh, if they found out, who I really am, they wouldn't like me, and that was true in a lot of cases. But at this time in my life, I almost, on purpose, just try not to filter myself. And that's partly these campouts. And when I've spoken like on video, I try, and I do a little, like right before I sit down, I bookmark a few things that might be interesting. But I try not to think about what I'm going to say, because then that guy comes out, the guy that I had to live with until I was 40. And I don't like him. I love him. I forgive him. But I don't want to be him anymore. I just want to be whatever I am right now by a campfire. So I'm going to read one more to you. And then we're going to play a song. I hope everybody's doing all right. I wanted to say about the three books that were the giveaway prize yesterday. Something happened with the system in that it didn't pick the three. So whether I have to like cut everybody's name out and put it in a hat, whatever I have to do, I'm going to get that done. And then those three books will go to people who watched the first 5 days or up to day 6. And I'll make sure that prize goes out. I apologize. I don't know what that was. It might end up sending them after this though, but I'll make sure it's right. This is the last one I wanted to read, because I was going to talk about love and the wounds of love, but I ended up talking about pain a lot. And so I thought this was a good poem to kind of end this night with. And it's called The Meaning of Pain. And I got to take a drink. Okay. Excuse me for hacking in the microphone. Life and struggle, they are one and the same. The worst for this truth are those who don't know. Not far behind those who know and despair. The latter recoil like hands to the flame, dare not their wounded pride cards in the game. The former, surprised by each rip and tear, drink their confusion, hide their dear soul, thinking themselves rare, desperate to blame. There are few who calculate this payment, accept the terms as contract, sign their name with God as his instrument, concede the old war, rescind with hope their shame. Their life and struggle bring meaning to pain. I'm going to read this little sidebar, which I don't remember what it says, but let's hope it's all right. When I was young, I spent much time studying theological and philosophical question they call the problem of pain. I have many books about this subject. They put God in the witness stand and grill him, then decide what kind of God he is based on their arguments. May I never spend one more second on these useless theology books again. These days, I like to imagine that God is posing the question to me, Ezra, what is the meaning of pain? And I answer with 1,000 songs, 100 poems. I hand a $20 bill to someone in need. I answer with a desperate hug given to a friend. I answer in sweat as I collapse into my wife's arms, making love. The question, I imagine, is asked of us, and I think we humans have answered it quite well. There is not enough time in my life to read, watch, listen to, or enjoy all the answers we have provided. All right. Y'all, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to try to sing Without Me, which is one of the songs that's in your album folder today. And I know it sounds terrible on streaming. We're just doing it for the spirit of the campfire, of the campout. And I've never actually played this. I played it to write it. And then after I wrote it, I played it to record it. And then I've never played it since. That's almost a year ago. If not, about a year ago. And then I just picked it up right before and tried to remember the chord. So let's see how we do. Oh, let's say this before I start singing. We've got 3 days left in the campout. So if you've missed it so far, and maybe you saw this, you're watching this hangout, you can still jump in and catch the last 3 days. There's replays. The albums and the book and everything I'm working on getting those up in the store, and I will alert everybody in the mailing list just as soon as they're up. And it probably is going to be close to this weekend. And we still have some good kind of behind the scenes stuff to come out. We have another official music video coming in these next 3 days, and another poetry video. And I can't remember what the third. Oh, we have another pretty special video that will kind of have I think on the last day we'll kind of set off our last hangout. So thank you all so much for being here. If you have a question, in the chat is my wife's name is Hallie. You can ask her the question. She'll send it to me. To be honest, when this is over, I got to pack up and then I have some work to do. And so forgive me for if I'm not real responsive right now. I'm really been quite busy getting all this done, and my wife is helping me out. So thank y'all. I got to take a drink. Just like a camp out, isn't it? Golly, my guitar is really hating this camp. Okay, it'll be campfire tuning again. Sewing up my heart with a needle in the dark. Maybe she's alright without me. I called her up last night, but she wouldn't even fight. Maybe she's alright without me. Dancing with her friends, oh, we know they all pretend, but maybe she's alright without me. She left a photograph and a favorite book of poetry. She's alright without me. She must have angels. She must have angels to walk beside her now. 'Cause I don't know how she goes so easily. Like presto, now I'm free. Maybe she's alright without me. Tearing at my soul with a love I can't let go. Maybe she's alright without me. She must have angels. To walk beside her now. 'Cause I don't know how she goes so easily. Maybe she's alright without me. Maybe she's alright without me. They say she's with a man, I guess any man will do. Maybe she's alright without me. Burn down my heart without me. Dancing with her friends, oh, we know they all pretend, but maybe she's alright, alright without me. Oh, tearing up my soul with a love I can't let go. She's alright, alright without me. Good night, everybody. Y'all have a wonderful night. We got 3 days left. Join me tomorrow for day 8. Check your email for 2 more tracks tomorrow. And I'm very glad that you're here tonight. Y'all have a good one. Bye. Lady of my heart, why did you go so far? All I do is think of you. Your arms out like a sparrow in the back of some old sport car. Sometimes I can picture you, and everything is dangerous when the heart rises higher than the wages of our life. And everything is dangerous in hindsight. Nothing's ever painless, even the good times. Lady of my heart, why did you leave that way? Silently she goes. You left me with the question, oh, remember that shooting star. What did you wish? I just wanna know. And everything is dangerous when the heart rises higher than the wages of our life. And everything is dangerous in the hindsight. Nothing's ever painless, even the good times.
the sun. They're like the sun in the rain. Lonely night. Lady of my heart, sometimes in the quiet of the dark,